Gazan artists are using fire to scorch drawings and portraits into pieces of wood. It's an artistic technique known as pyrography where wood is decorated using a heated tool. The Culture and Free Thought Association in Gaza organized a course to teach artists the technique, resulting in the works of art going on display. The artists learned how to use a special drawing tool similar to that of a solder iron with a heated tip to etch their designs into the wood. Artist Ahmed Abdurrahman said that choosing wood meant the artwork would last longer than regular drawings and was ideal for illustrating stories from Palestinian history. For the Palestinian artists, the technique was a new way to illustrate old stories from the culture and heritage.
وكلمة محمود درويش على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة احنا بنحسها يعني بتمدنا بالحياة ويعني ملازمانا فيها الكلمة.
Artist Wala Abdelaish created a portrait of Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish, who died in 2008 and whose poetry encapsulated the Palestinian cause.
بعكس القضية الفلسطينية.
The drawings are on show at the Culture and Free Thought Association with around 19 artists taking place. The exhibition opened on the 1st of July and will run till the end of August.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still with you on this morning's edition of The Breakfast Show, and of course today we celebrate a very important day for all Muslims, not just in Egypt but also in the Arab world and around the world. Today we see Muslims standing on Mount Arafat, or Waqfat Arafat, which is currently taking place. Millions of Muslims from around the world are now in Saudi Arabia taking part in the climax of the annual Hajj pilgrimage, one of the largest human gatherings on earth. And of course, joining us in the studio this morning to tell us a lot more about Eid al-Adha and the pilgrimage of Hajj is our guest in the studio, Dr. Ismaiil Hamid, researcher of Islamic history. Dr. Ismaiil, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And a very happy Eid to you
Thank
too.
you.
Good morning, Dr. Ismaiil, and happy Eid, of course.
Thank you.
Dr. Ismaiil, we want to learn about the fifth pillar of Islam, which is al-Hajj, and how it was ordained and when. Can you tell us more about this issue?
Yes, first of all, thank you for your kind invitation. And first of all, also I would like to congratulate all the Muslims in the worldwide for that great feast. And I hope that God make Egypt and all the Islamic nations secured, peaceful, and in prosperity every time. About your question, the story of the fifth pillar of Islam, we can go back for a while. It dates back to more than 4,000 years ago. That is the story of the pilgrimage that started when Prophet Abraham, he started to build the Al-Kaaba, the black pillar. He built Al-Kaaba, and according to the historians, we talk about the 19th century BC, that is his time. But a little bit before the construction of Al-Kaaba and Al-Bayt al-Haram, Prophet Abraham, he was born in Iraq, and then he went to Syria. After that, he moved to Palestine. He settled there for a while. He had only one wife during that time. She's called Sayyidah Sarah. She was an old-aged woman till 86 years, and Prophet Abraham had no sons and no descendants. So after that, because of starvation that happened in Palestine during that time, Prophet Abraham, he came to Egypt and settled in Egypt with his wife Sarah. So during that time, the Pharaoh of Egypt, he gave Prophet Abraham a woman, a young woman. She's called Hagar. She is Egyptian woman. And when they went back to Palestine, Sarah, she was a sterile woman, and she asked her husband to have the young Egyptian girl to be a wife for him. May she would give him a son. So that what happened before after that. So Hagar, the Egyptian wife, she gave Abraham a son who is called Ismail. So that is the story, because Ismail, he was the sacrifice, he was the victim of that story, that or the story of the redemption also. After a jealousy between Sarah and Hagar, Sarah, she was an old woman, and she became so jealous of the Egyptian wife. She's young and she has a son. So she asked Abraham, take away the Egyptian woman and her son and let them away with me. So Abraham, he took his wife and his young son, and they went to Mecca. At that time, Mecca was an arid area, and nothing there, just mountains, no water, nothing else.
Yeah.
So after a while, when the supplies of food that they had finished, especially the water, and the young boy was crying and weeping, he wants the water. So she let her son, and she was searching for water wherever. So she went to the mount of Safa and Marwa, and she made there a tour 7 times, go back 7 times for looking for the water. At the end, she came back and she found her son still weeping, and he's about to die. At that time, God sent angel Gabriel, and under the feet of the young boy, God made the water. This is Ma Zamzam. That is the story. So when the water found there, so the tribes, when they found that there are life there and the trees and all this, they started to live there closer to this area. In one of the visits of Prophet Abraham to Mecca, because he was living there in Palestine with Sarah, and Sarah, she will give him a son after that, Isaac, but after the redemption or the sacrifice of Ishmael. So in one of his visits there, Abraham, he was sleeping, and then there was a vision to him, an order of God that Abraham, slaughter your son to be a sacrifice to me. So the vision of the prophet should be a reality, or it is an order of God. The dream of any prophet, it is an order of God, because Satans or evils don't come to the prophets in their vision. So what happens to him? He has a young son, okay, nearly
He has been
12,
waiting for the son for
waiting
years.
for a long time, because he had that son 86 years old, a very old man, and he was hoping to have that. When he had that, and he is now more than 100 years ago, and there is an order of God to slaughter the son to be a sacrifice of God. So he did not tell his wife about that story, and then in a special talk with his son Ishmael, he told him, my son, I had an order of God, this to slaughter you, not to kill you. It's not a kill, but slaughter. Slaughter,
Sacrifice.
as sacrifice, it is something usual in all the religion. We know the sacrifice in Judaism and Christianism, that is something not to kill, because it's different meaning. So what we are astonishing about this is the reaction of the young son. He was nearly 12 years old, and he told his father, oh father, do as God ordered you. There's something great when we imagine that, and a father, he is telling his son to slaughter him or to sacrifice him for God, and after that the reaction of the young son itself. And the young son also, he is a half Egyptian, okay? And all what happened there, and all the rites of pilgrimage that the pilgrims do now, this according to what Hagar and her son made. Hagar is Egyptian, and her son is a half Egyptian. So this a close relation, even with the pilgrims with Egypt. There is a relation, because Ishmael himself is considered to be the grandfather of the Arabs. They are the sons of Ismail. And from, or after more than 40 generations, from Prophet Ismail came Prophet Muhammad to be the son of Ismail. So for that, Prophet Muhammad, in one of his tradition, peace be upon to him, he told his companions to be recommended with the Egyptians, استوصوا بأهل مصر خيرا فإن لهم ذمة ورحمة. That is also to show that relation between Egypt, and also the recommendation of Prophet Muhammad to the peoples of Egypt, this thank to Hagar and thank to Ishmael. At that time, when Abraham he got the acceptance of his son, they went to one of the mountain of Mecca, and they climbed up, and he had a knife. So he brought his son to the other side, and he covered his face for not to see him when he will cut his head. When he is approaching to the knife in order to slaughter and to cut the head of his son, so there is a problem on the knife. The knife does not work. Okay, he made this several times. He does not understand what happens. And then after waiting for a while, there is a voice from heaven that